Alright, welcome everybody to our 7th installment in the DMT Trip Report series. I don't know if you're binge watching, I don't know if you're watching this like 3 years in the future after this came out, but thank you so much for tuning in. Today's episode is kind of interesting. I always really enjoy any kind of psychedelic experience from people who are kind of just druggies. I don't mean that in a negative way or anything, but people just like enjoying and trying a multitude of different drugs and, messing with their own pharmacology, right? Experiencing like any kind of psychedelic. The author seems to be pretty cool with it. I know some people are like, whoa, this isn't like coke or heroin. Sometimes it's like, yeah, it's a psychedelic. Yeah, this one's gonna make you feel this way. So I found this one pretty interesting. This one was definitely speaking to me about the potential for psychedelics to, transform, enlighten, and heal our society when properly integrated. But I get on that train way too often. Excuse me. So yeah, this is Seeing Through the Eyes of God. Alright, actually, before we begin, author's note, I'm not sure the author proofread this, so if there's like weird language, I'm probably not just like screwing up speaking. I'm either doing like autocorrect as I read it, or just reading it as it flows, which is sometimes broken English, but for the most part it's okay. Just kind of wanted to quickly get that out there, but yeah. Okay, actually, Seeing Through the Eyes of God. 2 days ago, my older brother, who recently got out of court-ordered rehab, came to hang out. I never would have expected we were going to try the most potent psychedelic available that day, but I've heard people say it, DMT, really does find you. Me? I'm an herb enthusiast. I love and smoke weed every day. I'll have some of everything else occasionally, however. My other psychedelic experience includes psilocybin, shrooms, DXM, salvia, LSA, or morning glory seeds, and I've tried all the much less interesting substances like coke and crack, all the members of the opiate family except fentanyl, no needles though, amphetamine but not the meth, and a few of the benzodiazepines, and a few not worth mentioning. Now, if you haven't tried psychedelics, there's about half of the experience that is impossible to communicate or describe properly or at all, to a point that it's like trying explain colors or sight period to a man who's been blind since birth, for example. No regular pitiful drug high comes close except weed, let alone should even be compared with the powerful, immersive experience I have on the influence of DMT. Now that aside, my experience in detail is as follows. I'm not exactly sure what I was doing in my room that day at that moment. I was either playing guitar, video games, or downloading CDs I borrowed from my brother to iTunes. I was pleasantly stoned, as usual. I had smoked a bowl and a bong, usually I kill it in one hit, about 30 minutes ago from the current time, which I believe was about 10 p.m. So my brother was making some sort of oh my god no way type noises, which I just barely noticed while I wasn't paying attention. Then he came and asked me if I wanted to smoke DMT. I was the one who first heard about it, and I've been wanting to try some for a while, and after having many mushroom experiences I wanted something the same yet different, and I still haven't found LSD yet either. So I told him okay, but I am slightly anxious, as with any new substance. However, this one in particular is said to be among the most intense experiences one can have. So I said, let's prepare by smoking a fat bowl of 15 times salvia extract each, while I still have a lot from my last trip to the boardwalk. I get salvia quite often and I'm quite familiar with it, so it's not worth explaining that short experience here too. We smoked the salvia, tripped balls so to speak, and decided we were ready for DMT. We also thought about how salvia is fun, but too weird and different from all other psychedelics. I still like it, but after DMT, my brother said he would be bored tripping on salvia again. So finally we come back inside the house. We enjoyed the salvia on the back porch to my room, which is decked out in black lights, fluorescent black light posters, as well as non-fluorescent posters, covering 95 or so of the wall space, also the ceiling, and the spaces are filled in with cutout magazine pages and High Times posters, and all sorts of light-up things from Spencer Gifts. Also, the bed folds into a couch, there's a stereo with a DVD player and video games. I used to watch antenna cable until it was cancelled for the change to digital over analog. In short, it's a very comfortable place to get high and especially to trip. It was 10:30 p.m. when we sat down. I gave my brother a cigarette bat pipe with a screen crumbled up and stuck in the tip, bat means small one-hitter, to smoke it in. He's currently subject to regular drug testing, meaning he can get away with most things except weed. He used to smoke as much as me. So he was on a Roxycontin 30, which he ate at about 7 p.m. I had packed a metal chamber pipe with some weed and smoked the salvia on top 40 minutes ago. It was half packed still, but I had definitely burned the powerful extract flakes away and had burnt bud left. The DMT, which was a gooey glob of crystalline crumbs, smelled very plastic-like, strange and synthetic, just like I expected based on others' accounts. It also sort of smelled perfume-ish in a way. He had explained to me that he got it a whole year ago, the day before he was shipped off to Bible rehab, which he hated every day of. We're somewhat anti-religion, although we think of ourselves as agnostic. He left it in a tin which he found while looking through his closet, but the tin opened and the little bag containing it was found on the floor. I was still very anxious but very excited when we sat on the couch and took it out of the little bag. He asked me to try it first, so I joked and said, "You wuss. You want me to be the guinea pig? Ha! Well, it just so happens I like being a guinea pig, so pass it here." So he gave me the mirror it was sitting on and told me to try however much I want to start with. So I used a folder knife to cut off a small piece, but my bro said, "Man, that's too little," and doubled it with a second similarly sized crumb. I'm glad he did that in the end, so we have no precise enough digital scale, therefore I don't know the numerical measurement. But it came out to be about the third the size, or maybe a bit less than a grain of rice. I put it on top of the burnt bud, put a little fresh on top to mellow the flavor, and after 2 minutes of quiet mental prep, a step I usually prefer to take when doing something physically crazy like one of these stunts, that I'm not supposed to recreate from Jackass or CKY videos. Yes, my friends and I do some of those things types on occasion, but hey, us idiots deserve to get injured, right? So don't worry. So it's about 10:35 p.m. and after my short meditation, I hastily opened my eyes and hit the pipe hard, but stopped short when I began to really taste the smoke. I put it down, held it in, and felt a slight head rush coming on. When I blew it out, I knew I had smoked enough but wanted to wait and see anyway. I only felt threshold effects about 1 minute later, and for the next 10 minutes I felt spaced out, saw faint visuals, and had a major head high. My brother had a similarly half-assed trip from a half-assed hit about 5 minutes after I hit it. So I was disappointed at not really feeling anything huge yet, and also at myself for hitting it like a little girl, and decided to clear my pipe. Also thinking only as much as I got the first hit was left. Man, was I wrong. I saw it melt away through the bud very fast, so I thought it mostly vaporized away. I figured the physics of it would be alike to smoking crack, but I forgot one important thing. There's usually more left than I think. I picked up the pipe while still on threshold, feeling it hit it deep and hard. I didn't taste it so bad, but I heard it sizzle. I knew I got something. I held it in as long as I could until a very strange feeling was creeping on me. I blew it out, and as soon as I did, I knew I was coming up real fast. It was about 10:45 p.m. now, I think. I put the pipe down now and was amazed at how hard I was peaking. It was very, very similar to the psilocybin shroom peak. There were incredible visuals, more distinct and prominent than any I ever seen on any other substance. I said to my brother, "Oh my god, I'm feeling it now, and wow." The first thing I saw when I looked up after placing down the pipe was an incredible swirling kaleidoscopic visual in the center of my vision. I believe this is what some refer to as the wheel or the lotus. I saw this for about 3 minutes when it changed to free-form blobs of different patterns and color schemes. I said to my brother, "I need to touch you. No homo, 'cause I know it sounds weird, but I feel like I need to hold someone to anchor my astral being down to earth, or I'd leave my body and drift into space." I asked him if I was alive and if he was sure, and he said yes, which I found somewhat comforting. I was truly feeling like I had transcended this dimension, was now living parallel to this world in ethereal form. I looked around, I saw perspective shifts to seem infinite, which was slightly overwhelming. So I sat back and asked for my covers, which like on shrooms I found both amusing and comforting. There was one point when I felt intense, irrational fear, but also like on shrooms, I seem to be good at mentally chasing away or ignoring this. I just thought, what if I don't come down for a while and it leaves me insane? Or what if it triggers some latent schizophrenia or something? Then I found comfort in remembering I've had shrooms like 8 times. I've eaten a whole quarter to myself and smoked salvia while on it, so I thought if I was latently insane, it would have happened by now. This is the same thing I usually think that causes me to have a difficult moment while tripping. By 10:50, my brother packed again and joined me in the DMT world. I was speechless for the main peak, which I mostly described above. That lasted about 7 minutes. By 10:52 p.m., I became very talkative and my brother was peaking. He wanted to put his hand on my shoulder now, noting that he also felt it comforted him, and made him communicate better. I had said that while peaking. I had my cover over me and my head now, and he said, "That looks fun, can I have half your covers?" I shared now, and we both looked like little kids or grown-up morons, laughing and joking in a cover fort. We both talked a hell of a lot, because right after our respective peak, our thoughts began moving very fast. I can't remember all of what we talked about, but like shrooms, we had a very philosophical, introspective, and sometimes silly conversation. I had said in mid-peak that if I died now, I wouldn't mind if I could just fly across an endless realm of swirling colors for eternity feeling, like this. So we talked about what we think the next life will be, and how we feel close to some type of God, but we don't want the Christian God in heaven, which he learned about at rehab. We thought eternity couldn't be singing praises to God at his throne side. We felt close to higher truth and existence all at once. We were also glad that DMT is so similar to our shrooms, our favorite tripping substance. I also remember that DMT is or is very like an analog to psilocybin. I mentioned that we were sort of back in the mushroom kingdom, a metaphor I just thought of, and I wondered if the makers of the Mario series had this explicitly in mind when they thought about the setting and backstory, and the fact that shrooms are power-ups in these games of the Mushroom Kingdom and Mario Bros. We laughed, but my bro said probably. I joked and said yeah, too. As we came down, my dad came to knock on the door, because it was time for my bro to go. He said please wait, and that he'll tell him what we were doing later after he didn't hear him say, "We're smoking DMT, and hold on a minute." This was a relief, because I don't want to be around people who aren't tripping with me. Literally, I thought they better not come here and make me get up and do something I don't feel like doing, or waste my time talking about unimportant crap. It was about 10:58 p.m. now. We talked and talked for most of the trip right after the peak. He went outside to smoke a cigarette. We were both feeling a chill, weed high like after trip. I took a ride while he dropped off. We talked with my dad about it and what it was like, and I listened to headphones half the way. So DMT, wow. It was like seeing through God's eyes, if I can imagine that in any way. And I used to think that about shrooms. They're still good though. If you ever want to try psychedelics, start with shrooms or morning glory seeds. Psychedelics are powerful spiritual guides that help put my psyche in a more open perspective, which I think ultimately helps my brains and very being to evolve and or transcend to higher existence. So, in aiming to collect a wide variety of trip reports and, give some voice to them, give them some exposure, right? We encounter ones like this, and I thought this one was really funny, actually. Author definitely seems to be a druggie. His brother going to, like Bible rehab, and then, immediately getting off of probation or whatever, and then finding the DMT and smoking it. And then they're talking about God, as you do on DMT, and how he really hopes it's not the Christian God. I think I was just laughing while I read the trip report. But yeah, we have to pay a lot of respect to, I think the author is well aware that he might not be the brightest bulb in the drawer, so to speak. But we do have to give a lot of credit to people who are just kind of dumb with drugs and fry their brains with it, and seem to handle it so well. Like when he was talking about, I think I might be triggering a latent schizophrenic outbreak, and then he's like, actually, I did like a quarter of mushrooms and then smoked salvia while peaking, and it didn't happen then, so I doubt it's gonna happen now. That's like really, it's like good confidence, honestly. That is just insane. I don't understand how anyone experiences anything of that nature and is like okay with it. I feel like that just scar you for like a year. But you always have to appreciate the people who are just able to take psychedelics like this. They personally affect me quite a bit more intimately, might be the right word. But yeah, this was a really funny DMT trip. I'm glad it was fun and okay, and it seemed like the author learned something. It kind of explored the universe, and a lot of what we try to do on this channel is kind of explore rationally into the spiritual side of things in a way that can, you know, we can explain these things to people who don't have any familiarity with them in the first place. It's just, here is a clear-cut way of understanding all these kind of loose spiritual concepts and kind of gathering them up and talking about their evidence and, you know, why they objectively exist, because it's not something you're taught in school. You would have to come across this information either by like your parents or your friends or like personal interest on the internet. So yeah, always have fun exploring those kind of things. Always have fun exploring a wide variety of trip reports. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope to see you in next week's trip report. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.